Hello everyone, and welcome to ranking Nothing But Thieves songs. And this is actually a video that I've been wanting to do for a while now for actually a variety of bands. Maybe I'll do it for 21 Pilots in the future, but I wanted to do a ranking of some of my favorite band songs, sort of give some reasoning as to why I put certain songs above other songs, and just to, start a conversation with fans of the band, or to introduce people who are unfamiliar with the band to songs that I think are the best, that they should start with, songs they should potentially stay away from. When it comes to Nothing But Thieves, I'm kind of a diehard fan. They're arguably one of my favorite bands of all time. I literally have one of their song lyrics tattooed on my arm. It's kind of hard to show on this camera, but it's the song I'm Not Made by Design, and that's tattooed on my arm, that song title. So needless to say, I am a huge fan of this band, but this should be interesting. I'm going to be ranking every song from their discography, excluding these bottom ones down here. I only consider those like demos of sorts, or just like little extra generation ideas, so I'm not going to be ranking these little sequel ones that I'm circling right now. Without further ado, let's jump right into it, and we are starting with the song Emergency. Now, Emergency is a fine Nothing But Thieves song. I sort of see it as like a precursor to like Broken Machine, the song, because they sort of feel really similar. It's kind of a poppier vibe for them. It's not necessarily the most memorable song of theirs, so I'm going to keep it in C tier right now. It's like a mid-level Nothing But Thieves song for me, but it could move up higher on the list depending on where we put everything later on. Now, Last Orders, that's a really special song. That's like a Nothing But Thieves classic. The production on that song is super crisp. Connor Mason's vocals just fill your ears in that song. It's very cinematic. The lyrics are great, which is true for a lot of Nothing But Thieves songs, but they're especially good here. And it simultaneously puts me in my bag, but also makes me want to dance. So I think I'm gonna put it up on A tier for now, just because I really do love that song. Next up, we got Honey Whiskey, and don't be alarmed when I put stuff in C tier right away. That's just a placeholder until I figure out other stuff. Honey Whiskey, it's a deluxe track. I think it's a little bit better than Emergency. I really do love the hook on that song. The bass line is great. His vocals sound great. It's very relatable. So I'm gonna keep it in B tier right now. I do think it's better than Emergency, but I don't think it's Last Orders good. So next we're gonna move on to Graveyard Whistling, and my opinion on this one is actually gonna be a bit controversial because it's not one of my favorite Nothing But Thieves songs. I know people really love this one, but to me the hook isn't all that great. The "if you don't believe it can't hurt you," the "if you don't believe" sort of gets old to me, especially the "if you don't believe." I don't know, it's not my favorite hook. I think it's definitely not one of their more interesting instrumentals. Do I put it below Emergency? I feel like that's sort of doing it a disservice. I'm gonna keep it at C. I think it is on the same level as Emergency. I don't know if I like it more than Honey Whiskey, though. I think I do like Honey Whiskey more than Graveyard Whistling. Next up, we got Hostage. And again, not one of my absolute favorites, but I absolutely adore the bass line in this. I love Connor Mason's vocal performance on this one. It's sexy, it's intimate, it's like in your face. I love the drum hits and the guitar, how the guitar hits with the drums in the chorus. Do I like it? Do I put it on B or C? That's where I'm at with this one. I think I'm going to keep it on C because the chorus isn't my favorite. The "if I want you, I want you, I want you to be happy," it's not my favorite chorus by them. But yeah, it's still a great song nonetheless. Now, Trip Switch, that's one of their more popular songs, and for good reason too. It's actually a really great song. I'm actually going to be putting Trip Switch in A tier. Not quite S tier because it's not. It is a little bit on the safe side for their sound, but that doesn't necessarily mean a bad thing. I am going to save S tier for some of the more creative and unique songs. So I think that's what's keeping it from being S tier. But Trip Switch is a jam and a half, dude. Like, especially the guitars right before the chorus kicks in, the do 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 do, when Joe is going down he's going down the scale, and it creates a lot of suspense before the chorus finally kicks in. That's this huge sing-along moment. It's a great alternative rock jam, and yeah, I think it's on par with Last Orders. Next we got Lover Please Stay, which is one of Connor Mason's absolute best vocal performances of all time. Like, this song is just absolutely heart-wrenching to the core. The lyrics are beautiful. And honestly, I don't know if this is a controversial opinion, but I'm actually going to put it on S tier. I really do love this song. Especially the live performances of it too. It's one of their more emotional songs. It's very slow. So it's not going to be for everyone, but I just can't get over Connor's vocals. Like, that's one of the songs that I show people when I'm like, Connor Mason is one of the best vocalists alive. You need to listen to this song. So I'm going to put Lover Please Stay in S tier. Next we have Painkiller, which is not one of my favorites from their self-titled. In fact, it's one of my least favorites from self-titled. The chorus isn't anything special for me. I don't think Connor Mason has a particularly compelling vocal performance on this one. I don't know, it feels like a deluxe track, even though I'm pretty sure it's not a deluxe track. It sort of feels like a B-side sort of thing. It's not as memorable as a lot of the tracks on self-titled, so I'm going to keep it on D. It's still a great song, though. I would consider anything D and up to be at least a good song. So Painkiller is a good song, it's just on the verge of being mediocre. Next up we got Tempt You, which is the closing track for self-titled. When I'm re-listening to the album, I do kind of wish it was a more bombastic, more memorable final finish, but I love how the song evolves. The drums sound great on this song when they come in finally, and the guitars sound amazing. And of course the vocals are great as always. I'm wondering if I should put this in C or B. I'm gonna keep it on C right now because I think it's on par with like Graveyard Whistling. I don't know if it's Honey Whiskey status. Next up we got Hanging, which has one of the most like infectious hooks on self-titled, because that hook just gets stuck in my head all the time. Hanging by a thread, she said, where'd you wanna go, where'd you wanna go, where'd you wanna go. It's so good, so good. And especially like the beginning of this song too is like super like claustrophobic, and then when it opens up to the chorus and you get those guitar strums and then everything breaks in and the guitars come in. The guitars are great on this song. When they finally come in, it's huge compared to the small choruses, which are very quiet and subdued, and I really like that contrast. So for that, I'm gonna put Hanging, oh man, should it go A or B? I'm gonna put it on B for now. Next up, we got the absolute meme that is Neon Brother, the song that they love to hate. Regardless, it's actually one of my favorite songs off of self-titled just because of how unique it sounds. The drum beat and like rhythm section is very left field for them. They don't have a lot of songs that sound like Neon Brother. And I think the bridge when Connor lets out a scream and the guitars go full force, I think that's a really satisfying moment. And it's a great sing-along moment too. So I think I'm gonna put it on B because I don't think it's as good as Trip Switch and Last Orders, but it is a great song off of self-titled. Next up we got Drawing Pins, which in my opinion is one of the most underrated Nothing But Thieves songs. I think it absolutely deserves more love. I am definitely putting this in A tier. The drums sound super crisp on this song, especially in the verses. And the bridge has amazing guitars. Like, it goes from like somber, like just bass guitar and drums, and then the bridge is like has some of the best guitar tones on self-titled, and it has a really great hook too. Tell me what you did it, what you did it, what you did it for. It's super catchy. Next up we got Excuse Me, which is the opening track for self-titled, and I don't know, I feel conflicted on this one. I really love the vibe that it sets up. It really does set the aesthetic and the tone for the rest of the album. I don't love Connor's like whistling high vocals on the chorus. They do get old after a few listens, so I'm gonna keep it on C tier just for that. It's not the most memorable chorus either, besides those whistling vocals. But yeah, it just doesn't particularly stand out to me as a song that like people have to listen to from Nothing But Thieves, so I'm gonna keep it on C tier for now. Next we got Ban All the Music, which is another classic. That iconic guitar riff is always a treat to listen to. A great sing-along moment. This is one of the staples in their discography, so just because of that, I'm going to put A tier. It's definitely a jam. It's something I could really put on whenever. I almost never get sick of that song, so I think it deserves A tier. Next up, we got 6 Billion, which also isn't one of my favorites off of Self-Titled. I think one of the main reasons why I don't love this song is because some of the guitar tones in this song aren't my favorite, particularly the do-do-do-do. I know I'm not singing it exactly right, but it's in the chorus, and it comes in like every other bar. And it just, I don't know why, it like sticks out so much in the mix, and I can't ignore it. On top of that, it's not their most daring song. It sort of just feels like graveyard whistling, to be honest, so I'm going to keep it at the same level. Still a decent song, though. Next up, we got Itch, which is absolutely one of my most favorite Nothing But Thieves songs. That's going straight to S tier. The chorus is huge, memorable moment. The guitars in the beginning, I know I'm not saying it right, and I'm a terrible singer, but it's so iconic as soon as it comes on. It just pumps me up. Definitely one of the highlights off of Self-Titled. I think it should open the album, honestly. I don't know why they chose Excuse Me as the first track. I think Itch actually does a better job of setting up the sonic environment that they explore on this album. Next up, we got If I Get High, which is probably their most popular, right up there with Trip Switch and Amsterdam. Obviously one of Conor Mace's best vocal performances. Obviously that I have to put that in S. That's an absolute staple of their discography. It really hits you right in the feels. The production is amazing, the way it builds up, and of course, like I've said it before and I've said it again, the freaking vocals on this song. Just when it finally explodes, it's a huge moment of euphoria. It's amazing live. It's honestly everything you could want in a Nothing But Thieves song. And lastly, we got Wake Up Call, which I'm gonna leave in C tier because, again, it's one of those songs that is just like, it's fine, it exists, it's on Self-Titled. I don't think it's Neon Brother, Hanging Honey Whiskey level. I think it's on par with Graveyard Whistling. And I do think it is better than Painkiller, so I think it's fine. I'm gonna leave it in C tier. Okay, so now we're moving on to Broken Machine, which is my favorite Nothing But Thieves album. So you're gonna see more of S and A tier songs. Yeah, so let's just jump right into it. Starting with I Was Just a Kid, which has a monstrous chorus, amazing drum work. I think I'm gonna put it in A tier. I'm gonna put it in A tier because it is an absolute adrenaline rush of a song, and a really great opener for sure. Amsterdam, which I have to put in S tier. It's a song that introduced me to the band. It's another one of their staples. The vocal performance is amazing. The guitars are great. It's high energy. It's punchy. And I think it also has that universal appeal that these other songs have. I think Itch has universal appeal. I think If I Get High has universal appeal. Lover Please Stay doesn't really. I'm only putting that there because that song always gets to me personally. I know not a lot of people think that's an S tier Nothing But Thieves song, but I think it is just because of that. So I think it is better than I Was Just a Kid for that universal appeal. And just that hook is so, like, it'll get stuck under your skin. Like, I remember replaying this song over and over when I first found it. So not only does it hold an important place in my heart for discovering this band, but I still play the hell out of it today. Next, we got Sorry, which is another Nothing But Thieves classic. You got that, like, soft rock sort of aesthetic, a very memorable sing-along chorus, and again, like Amsterdam and If I Get High and Itch, it has that universal appeal. Great songwriting too. I think we can all relate to some of the lyrics in that song, and just a well-rounded, well-crafted song, and it just crescendos from beginning to end. It starts out very soft and it ends on a huge sing-along moment, and I really like that evolution as the song goes on, which makes it very satisfying to listen to on multiple endings because you get that euphoric ending every time you listen to it. Next up, we have Broken Machine, which is one of their weirder songs, but I actually really like it for that, so I'm going to put it on A tier. I think it is a little bit daunting of a song to listen to on first listen because of the dissonance in the guitars on the chorus, but I really love the risks that they took on this song. I really love the stylistic shift that this has in the middle of this like heavy rock album. and it's super memorable because of that, because of how left field it is. The lyrics are amazing on this one. The writing, it's super personal. It's relatable to anyone who struggled with their mental health issues, and it's just a fantastic song overall. Live Like Animals is the ultimate political jam that is also going in A tier, for obvious reasons. The danceable beat, like how many rock songs do you know that you can dance to like you can to Live Like Animals? It's nuts. I love the political message. It's super relatable, especially now. It's only gotten more relatable since it came out, and it's just a monster of a song. I'm gonna put Soda right up at S tier because it is my second favorite Nothing But Thieves song, right up there with I'm Not Made by Design. And it's because the vocal performance is amazing. The harmonies are great. The guitar and drums are produced so well. It's so crisp. And it's such a memorable hook. It's really just a vibe, honestly. And we all know where I'm Not Made by Design is going, considering I have it tattooed on my arm. It's going straight to S tier because not only is the title alone like a vibe, I'm Not Made by Design, that's badass as fuck. Like, I'm gonna live my life how I want. It's a great song message. The lyricism is great. The best thing about this song is the vocal performance and the fucking guitars. Like, this song rips. Probably their heaviest song to date, at least one of them, and I think that's why I like it so much. I really want to see more really heavy stuff from them. Just the message of like living your life how you want to and not letting anyone else dictate how you live it is a great message. Next up, we got Particles, which is going in A tier. Honestly, if I had a choice, I would put it like in the middle of these two tiers because it's like, honestly, it's interchangeable, but I'm gonna hold off on S tier because I want to keep S tier somewhat exclusive. If I weren't being so picky, I'd probably put most of them in S, A, and B. But I'm trying to be diplomatic. I'm trying to be fair. I want to spread them out a little bit. So Particles is going into A. It's another huge heart-wrenching moment. The chorus is gigantic. It's like a huge arena rock anthem, and at the same time, it's super personal to Connor Mason and his story with drug addiction. And yeah, it really punches you in the gut. I think everyone can agree that Get Better is definitely one of the weaker songs on Broken Machine. I do think it is better than Painkiller, but it is definitely a mid-tier Nothing But Thieves song. It's a little bit repetitive. It doesn't take any risks, any huge risks like the songs on S and A tier that we see up here from the album. So I'm going to keep it at C tier right now. Next up, we got Helya, which I think is an underrated song. I do think it's not as good as the Broken Machine song is in A tier, but I love the songwriting in this one. I love the play on words with Hell Yeah. Not a ton going on with the instrumentation, but it is a great break in the track listing when you're listening to the album from front to back. And I think the main star here is Connor Mason's vocals and the songwriting, which are always tried and true. But because it doesn't always involve the rest of the band, I am going to keep it in B tier just because it's not using the band's absolute fullest potential. It's still a great song though. Next up, we got Afterlife, which I'm going to put into B tier. Again, it just doesn't stand out quite as much as the songs above it. I think it is a pretty good closer. It's not as epic as some of the other cuts on Broken Machine, which is why I'm placing it lower. But it is a solid song overall. Next, we have Reset Me, which honestly, as a deluxe track, I could kind of do without. I'm going to put it on the same tier as Painkiller. They sort of have a similar vibe to me, where it's like, it's fast-paced and it's a little bit left field for their sound. And I don't know, it just doesn't... Every time it comes on, I'm like, oh yeah, it's that song, it's Reset Me. Not in a way where it's like, oh, it's like I'm disappointed. It's more of like an, oh yeah, this song exists, I'll leave it on. But it's like, I wouldn't necessarily seek out this song, you know? It doesn't really have that staying power that a lot of these other songs have. Next up, we got Number 13, which I am putting straight into S tier because it has one of my favorite drum beats of all time. The guitars are insane. It's fucking sexy as hell. Connor Mason's vocals are incredible. I feel like I'm just going to repeat myself for most of the rankings here, but yeah, number 13 is definitely going in S for me. Honestly, I think it should have replaced Get Better in the track listing for Broken Machine. I think that would have made a more solid track list. I'm not going to rank the acoustic versions of Sorry and Particles. I think they're both good songs. I mean, I guess if I had to put them on the list, I would put them in like C or B. Neither of them are as good as the originals, but they are a nice break for when you want to just listen to like a more stripped back version. But for me, I just don't listen to them very often, so I'm gonna keep them off the tier list for now. And with that, we are moving into their EP, starting with Forever and Evermore, which I am putting in A tier because it is quite a unique song for them. I love the sound of the chorus where it doesn't exactly have a straight beat. It's more like a syncopated beat. The guitars are super intense. I think the music video actually elevates this a little bit. I think if it weren't for the music video, I'd probably put it in like B tier, but I think watching the music video with this song is definitely an experience. The lyrics are amazingly done. What did you think when you made me this way? Like a lot of big questions being asked in this song. And a killer guitar riff, like not just on the chorus, but like the in the beginning and outro of the song as well. Now, Gods, I'm gonna put in C tier, not because it's necessarily on par with the other songs in C tier in terms of songwriting, but I actually find the production on this song to be a little bit weak. Like the drums feel kind of thin in the mix for some reason. Like it sort of feels like a wall of sound. I don't think the mixing was very good on this song. I think if they would have produced it better, it'd probably be even in like A tier, but I don't know why the production on this song sounds so strange to me. Like it's not well done. The lyrics aren't high enough in the mix, in my opinion. I love the lyrics, and I love like the idea of the song about the idolization of public figures and stuff like that. But the production kind of just holds it back. I don't know how they screwed that up, but it's still a good song nonetheless. You Know Me Too Well absolutely deserves way more attention than it's getting, so I'm gonna put it in S tier. It sort of feels like an Arctic Monkeys-esque sort of song. It's slow burning, it's intimate, it's hot, it feels like walking down the beach in the summer with like you're walking past your ex like on the beach. I know that's like really specific, but that's sort of the image that comes to mind. Yeah, it just feels like the summer. It feels like the sun beating on you. And not like in a like summery like vacation like fun kind of way. It feels like you're melting in the sun. Yeah, I think the way it evolves, especially towards the end, as more of the production comes to the front and like it gets more cinematic, I think that makes it that really ties it full circle. And the lyrics are great. Take This Lonely Heart is a really great sing-along moment on the EP, so I'm gonna put it in A tier. I do think it is on par with Forever and Evermore. I don't think it is S tier because over time this song did get kind of old on me. I think it is a little bit over dramatic in some parts, but I do like the sentiment of this song. I love the vibe. And with that, let's actually get the two covers out of the way, starting with Crazy. I think this is a great cover. I am going to put it in B though because obviously it is a cover, so it's not going to stand out as much in terms of uniqueness as some of the other songs, but the brooding guitars on this song are really what make it strong, so that's why I'm going to put it in B tier. And Lover You Should Have Come Over, it's a fine cover. Connor Mason's vocals are great, but like Helya, it doesn't incorporate the whole band, which is fine for some songs. But I think the rest of the band is too talented to leave out. While it is a nice cover and it is a nice acoustic instrumental break, I don't think it deserves a B. I think it is on par with the rest of these songs. It is a great cover though. And finally, we are ending with Moral Panic, starting with Unperson. When this song first came out, I wasn't really sure how I felt about it. It's very abrasive, it's very in your face. I'm not a huge fan of the robotic vocals in the first verse. I get what he was going for, how he's trying to convey like a loss of humanity, but it doesn't translate well to a live setting. When I watched the live concert of them performing this song, it didn't necessarily translate well, but I really do like the payoff at the end when it gets really heavy. I think it's just a little bit awkward at the start, and it takes a while to get its footing, so I'm gonna leave it on C tier. Next up we got Is Everybody Going Crazy, which was actually my most played song of 2020, and because of that I have a responsibility to put it in S tier. It was a great first single. It came out at a very opportune time. It just felt so damn relatable at the start of the pandemic, so because of that I am going to put it there. And it's also everything you could want in Nothing But Thieves song. The writing is really great. It's, like I said, relatable. A great guitar breakdown on the bridge. A really unique drum beat and a really unique guitar riff as well. So honestly, just a really great, well-rounded Nothing But Thieves song. This is one of the go-tos that I show people when they ask what Nothing But Thieves sounds like. Next up we got Moral Panic, which is a solid enough throwback sort of 80s inspired tune. I'm going to put it in B tier. I think it is better than Unperson. It's a more solid tune overall, but I think it could use a little bit more oomph. So I am going to put it in B tier, although I do love the production and how it sort of like subverts your expectations about what it could be. Like, it starts off very slow, and then when the bass and drums come in, it's like, okay, now we're picking up tempo. Like, I really love when they do stuff like that. It just puts you on the edge of your seat. Next up we got Real Love Song, which is going in A tier. I have to admit, this song grew on me. At first I was like, wow, this song is kind of a basic arena rock song, but once I really understood the lyrics and once I really sat with it for a while and paid attention to sort of the production details and how cinematic it was and the use of even a string section, it really moved up for me. It became a huge sing-along tune for me when I'm driving in the car. It's great to listen to in the car and with friends. And I really can't wait to see this one live. Like, this is going to be killer. The guitar riff on the chorus is super memorable. And yeah, it's another heart-wrenching tune, just like a lot of the other songs on A tier, like Particles. Next up we got Phobia, which I actually think is one of their best songs, so I'm going to put it in S tier. The reason why I think that is because of how unique it is. It's definitely got those Billie Eilish vibes. I'm gonna move my camera down here just so you can see what's going on over there, because obviously I'm not gonna put anything in F tier. But yeah, it's sort of like a magic trick of a song. Like, it evolves so much. I love how it has those 3 different stages where the person talking sort of descends more and more into madness. I absolutely love that. And how it explodes at the end. It's a super gratifying payoff, and it's a very creative song, and I really appreciate it for that. I'm gonna put This Feels Like the End in B tier because it sort of feels like Amsterdam, but not quite as interesting. I really do love the bridge where the news announcer comes in and everything gets a lot heavier. I don't find the chorus to be all that memorable. The hook is a little bit awkward to sing along to. In terms of like syllables, we devolve into inferior beings isn't exactly a line that is easy to pronounce in a chorus setting, just because you want a lot of Nothing But Thieves choruses. Why they're so strong is because they're easy to sing along to. They have really memorable lyrics, whereas this is one of those ones that took me a long time to understand not only what he was saying but how to say it and what they meant. But it's a super relatable song. Like, I found myself vibing to this a lot when I was doom scrolling on Twitter, when looking at politics. So it is very relatable, so I'm going to leave it in B tier. Next up we got Free If We Want It, which is absolutely a fan and band favorite, and I would have to agree. I'm going to put it in S tier. The main drawing point for this was the vocal performance and also the soft rock production. It's really just a moment of pure bliss from the band. Sort of feels like Sorry, but honestly, like on a whole nother level. It almost makes me want to put Sorry on an A tier because of how much it sort of outshines it and how similar they are. Man, should I move Sorry down? No, Sorry's a classic. I can't do it. I can't do Sorry like that. But next up we got Impossible, which is absolutely one of my favorite Nothing But Thieves songs. That's definitely going in an S tier. If not for the heart-wrenching lyrics, it's the huge sing-along production, it's the amazing vocals, the amazing songwriting. It always makes me think of my boyfriend, and when it came out I was just in absolute awe. Definitely one of the highlights off of Moral Panic. There Was Sun might be one of my least favorite Nothing But Thieves songs. It just doesn't feel like them. It's not a bad song, so I'm not going to put it in E. I still think it deserves to be on the same level as Reset Me and Painkiller. I think the production is fine. It just doesn't feel like the band. It sort of feels like a Conor Mason solo project. It's super out of place in the track listing. The lyrics are kind of vague. It doesn't click for me. I do like the arpeggiated synths in the bridge section, but the track doesn't evolve as much as I'd want it to. And it kind of feels awkward for them, like it doesn't really fit their sound. Next up, we got Can You Afford to Be an Individual, and that is going straight to the S tier. And look at that, the S tier just got a lot thicker. And the reason why I like this song so much is because how heavy it gets at the end. My goodness. It's so overtly political, and the heaviness sort of matches Connor Mason's vocal delivery at the end. It slowly ramps up more and more as Connor Mason gets more and more mad. The lyrics are, like I said, very political, all too relatable for people who are fed up with like the current political climate. So that's why it's going in S tier. It is definitely probably one of the best songs off of Moral Panic, up there with Impossible and Free If We Want It. And lastly, we have Before We Drift Away, which I think is a really solid closer, so I am going to put it in A tier. I really love the strings in the song. I think they give it a lot of character. It feels like a very final song. Like, I feel like this could be Nothing But Thieves' last song. I sure hope it's not, and I know it's not because I know they said they're going to release new music. But it feels very final. It's very cinematic. I love how it ends with the line, "I don't want to grow old." And it's one of those songs that closes off an album that makes you want to re-listen to it over and again. It doesn't it gives you just enough to want to go back and re-listen. And I think that's a great quality in a song, to give you enough, but still leave you wanting more. Alright, so that's going to do it for my Nothing But Thieves tier list. I hope you enjoyed watching this, whether you're a fan or not. This was super fun to make, and let me know if you want to see more tier lists like this in the future. Yeah, let me know what your tier list is in the comments if you have any upsets from this list. Honestly, this could probably change daily. Like, I could see like a lot of these moving around. Although generally, I will say generally, this is probably how I'm feeling about most of the songs. I think this general spread is probably what you're going to see most. As you can tell, Self-Titled is my least favorite just from how spread out that is across the list. Broken Machine is obviously my favorite because most of the songs are in S and A tier. And Moral Panic is a close second because a lot of the songs are in S tier, but you also have There Was Sun and Unperson, which aren't my favorite songs, but they're still solid. So yeah, thanks for watching. Leave a like, subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next video.